Doc Loves the Kids, a local Kitsap County nonprofit organization established in 2015, whose mission is to provide activities, programs, and community support for at-risk youth.
They put the you in community.
Doc Loves the Kids.
Welcome to Uncommon Courtesy,
where we give you the courtesy of conversation
that's uncommonly spoke of.
I'm D-Mac.
I'm Wesley.
And this is the show. Hey, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thanks everybody that views us. Don't forget to catch us every Friday at 7 p.m. on the Friday Fix and 1 p.m. Sunday on our Sunday Town Hall. Both are Pacific times. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us today. Senior Wesley, how are you today? Actually, sorry, Wesley. I got to make sure. I don't want to get arrested.
You don't want to get deported, huh? Right about now. Anything they said there, anything goes about right now, man. I know you got a hell of a weird situation going on when it comes to a topic that we're going to talk about. We've talked about it before, but it's kind of gotten to the point now.
Yeah, to the point. Yeah. So Trump to use Alien Enemies Act to supercharge deportation and target gangs. President Donald Trump is preparing to invoke the 1798 Alien Enemies Act to speed up deportation as he makes good on his promise to target violent criminal offenders living illegally in the United States. Trump has repeatedly referenced using the law passed 277 years ago, which was previously been used to detain U.S. citizens of Japanese and German descent during World War II. In a chapter that has since been seen as deeply problematic, the law gives the president wartime powers to deport people without hearings if deemed necessary. Trump has specifically singled out Denver and neighboring suburbs Aurora as targets of the enhanced enforcements due to the presence of the Venezuelan gangs Tren de Aragua. Aurora city officials have downplayed Trump's concerns, but have acknowledged that the arrest of at least 8 known or suspected TDA members in the past year. So, and he said, hold on, as commander-in-chief, I have no higher responsibility than to defend our country from threats and invasion. And that is exactly what I'm going to do, Trump said during his January 20th inaugurational address.
Hey, yeah, threats and invasion. He's using this as it's almost like wartime powers that he's trying to use during times of peace, but he's going to use it as it's an invasion of these people right here, like we've been invaded by. You know what I mean? And his people will go for it too. They've been pretty staunch, but a lot. I mean, honestly, I'm on all these different political sites on Facebook and things like that, right?
Yeah,
I'm talking to people, and it's like racism. Not all of them. I'm gonna say about 60% of them. That it's like their racist side of them tends to kind of leak out when you're talking to them. The subjects are really about this. The other 40% actually have legitimate points. You know what I mean? They actually have points that they make where we can go back and forth. And then we can kind of, deal with it that way. But it's like with this right here, he's basically saying to you, I'm going to use an old law to act like we're being invaded so I can start putting people in internment camps. I'm wondering, like, how well did that work out for you over when you sent everybody to Gitmo? That's pretty much an internment camp.
Well, this one will be different. See, because when they enact that law, they don't have to. They said they can hold you without court hearings or charges, right? They can just round up anybody after that. Hey, if somebody like AOC's out there saying, hey, they can't do this, can't do that. Well, how do I know if you're a citizen or not? You got to prove it while you're in jail and you're locked up and you can't make phone calls.
Figure it out.
This is not part of the end game, but it's an easier way for them because I know his numbers are embarrassing. I know you have it right there. We're going to talk about it. Mm-hmm. But like for them, look, they don't have to ask you questions no more. They can just pull you out. Oh, in Aurora or not even Ohio, bro, they got the Haitians, right? Mm-hmm. And they're about to leave. So they go to Ohio, they can just go into a black neighborhood and be like, you're all Haitian, you're all Jamaican. Let's go.
Yep.
Hey, they go to Texas and be like, oh, you're all Hispanic. Let's go. Everybody but the European Americans can be held without charges or for without reason. This is his Gestapo's.
And they can also get the European Americans as well and hit them for the people, anyone who's helping. Yep. Oh, you want to help them? Oh, let's go ahead and round you up. Let's see where you're from as well. Let's go ahead and put you over here. But they're not going to do that to them as much. We know how it goes. They're going to be very peaceable with them, just like with the protest today they had over at the Trump Tower. They got them all on buses, real nice. It wasn't nobody getting jammed up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's too many cameras.
And plus, it wasn't just that was too many cameras. They don't care. If they say that was some teenagers or some younger kids or some people of color, they wouldn't care. These were older white Jewish people. They were not about to. I'm gonna say white. They were Jewish people. Let's leave it at that. You know what I mean? But yeah, they don't. At the end of the day, man, I feel like we're putting ourselves in a very negative situation. We're not seeing the gravity of what's really going on. Like, our country needs immigrants. I mean, a heavy dose of immigrants.
Not no more.
the regular American citizens, we reproduce at a 1.6 rate per every 2 Americans. For every couple that you run into, they're producing about 1.6 kids. You have to produce 2.25 in order to grow your base of grow your population. We don't do that, and basically we'd have a declining population rate without immigrants, a heavy dose of them. That's what keeps us growing. Like we really look. There was a graph that I saw that said last year 35 million new people were born. I mean, above deaths were born on the continent of Africa. In this country, we had like 4.2 or 4.5, which was more than like South Africa. I mean, South America and other places like that. But it was like Asia had a nice a rate of growth as well, but Europe had a declining rate. The reason why we don't have one is because the population from Mexico, people like that, they say it keeps us young. Like Ross Perot Jr. said it best. He's like, Mexico is what keeps us young. It's what keeps us to the point where we'll have Social Security when we get old enough to the point where Social Security is in our future. You know what I mean? So basically, we have to really look at the situation and pay attention to what we're doing. If you're telling people don't come here now and you're threatening that you're going to put them in jail, deport them, it's going to make people afraid to come here.
They don't care about none of that, though. That's the whole thing. I hear what you're saying, Wes, and it's logical. But to them, they don't want Mexicans and Africans and, Caribbean people coming here. They want Europeans to come here. But Europeans are like, I ain't going to come live with y'all crazy asses. And the people in Europe are having enough problems with immigration anyways. Look, what they want to do, they want to make America basically, 90% white again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So right now, they're going to round up everybody they can. Look, you see how they're doing. They're using violence and disease. You know what I'm saying? Measles is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy that there's an outbreak of measles just running through America right now.
Through America. It was gone. And then you get all these people, these parents that say, oh, I don't want to vaccinate my kids. And their kids are the ones getting sick and getting measles. And they're spreading it to everybody else. Look, folks, pay attention. They're going to pass this law. If you're working at a place, a shelter where they're sheltering migrants, you're going to jail. If you live next door to a migrant and you don't tell them that the migrant's there and they find the migrant, you're going to jail. If you're seen in a place like a nightclub and they arrest migrants, you're going to get arrested too. You won't be able to make a phone call. You won't be able to talk to nobody. This is what your reality is about to be. We need to stop looking at America how it used to be, and we need to accept what it is now.
Yeah, it definitely has changed a great deal. I mean, we've gotten to a point to where we don't, our neighbors are no longer like it's no longer like the Bible, which everyone pushes as this is a Christian nation. We don't believe in that anymore. It's like right now, what do they say? Honor thy neighbor, whatever. It's not honor thy parents, but you know what I mean? Like treat your neighbor as whatever else. We don't do that. We don't even care about them anymore. We're angry. We're blaming them for the problems that are happening here in America. And it's not, I don't know any of us that have real issues based off of what is happening with a migrant.
A battle rapper said it recently. He said, my magazine's longer than the extended absence of Jesus during slavery. And I'll leave it at that.
Absolutely, man. Let me move on for another one. Second judge orders Trump administration to rehire probationary workers let go in mass firings. A judge in Maryland has blocked for now the mass firings of probationary federal workers and ordered thousands of fired probationary workers to be reinstated, making the second decision of its kind in a day. The order from U.S. District Judge James Breeder came late Thursday in a lawsuit filed by 19 states and the District of Columbia against multiple federal agencies alleging the mass firings are illegal. The states contend the Trump administration's blindsided them by ignoring laws set out for large-scale layoffs, which already are having an impact on state governments as they try to help the suddenly jobless. At least 24,000 probationary employees have been terminated since President Trump took office, the lawsuit alleges. Though efforts by the judge to get an estimate from a government attorney at a hearing Wednesday were unsuccessful. The Trump administration argues that the states have no right to try and influence the federal government's relationship with its own workers. Trump, a Republican, has said he's targeted fraud, waste, and abuse in bloated federal government. So basically,
what happened was the courts have ruled that Doge. They're not really part of the government. They weren't elected. So he's not allowed. Elon Musk is not an elected official. He doesn't have the authority to fire anybody. That's basically what the judge said. That's why everybody gets to go back and get their jobs back. For me, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? You don't get to fire me and then call me 5 days later like, hey, we need you to show up to work tomorrow because we made a mistake. No, you didn't. Because now I'm going to sue you. And I'm going to get my money. I'm going to get enough money where I don't have to work for you. Because this is messed up. It's crazy. So many people are heartless. Oh, well, some of them don't do anything. These people don't do this. You don't know what any of these people do.
At all.
You know what I'm saying? That's not on you. Like, if he takes away your job, you're going to be like, I'm going to say the same thing about you. Oh, they don't. People here at the shipyard, they have jobs over there and they're losing their jobs. They're about to. And people are like, well, some of them don't do anything. You don't know these people.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you realize we live around a bunch of evil, heartless people. And everybody needs to take notes on who it is.
I feel like it's not even that they're just, it's that they are angry at themselves. They're like, what about the Keystone Pipeline people? That's an independent company. That has nothing to do with the federal government. What we're saying is we don't want you. I know people who right now we're going to have their land taken away by the Keystone Pipeline. They're going to eminent domain your land, take it from you for a Canadian company to come and commandeer your property and then run their pipeline through your property, which will eventually cause spills, ruin waterways, ruin water that we use for drinking and everything else, ruin the environment. But you want to defend that like that's a good thing. I mean, well, at the end of the day, these are people who have jobs who work in the federal government who are actually helping what's going on in this country. You know what I mean? So to me, it's just like him coming in. It shows his lack of understanding of what he's doing, because it seems like everything that he's trying to do gets unraveled every time he does it.
Well, the thing, I was watching a video yesterday and this guy explained it so well. Because remember, I've been like, what's their end game for all this? Mm-hmm. What are they trying to accomplish? It's like, to me, it wasn't making any sense. And he spelled it out to me and it was right there in my face the whole time. He said they want us to go into a recession. They want everything to crumble. Mm-hmm. They want all the stocks to be low. They want everything to crash, right? So, because all the rich people will swoop in because everyone's going to be selling everything. Mm-hmm. You're going to be selling your businesses. You're going to be selling your buildings. You're going to be selling your cars, all that stuff. The rich people are going to swoop in, buy it in cheap, and then by the time everything gets back and corrected, they're going to own the majority of everything. Again,
this is not a something that they haven't done. Look at 2008. You know what I mean? Look at that. I saw a guy go online. He was like, oh, boom. Look, Trump's tariff that he just made, the guys over in Ontario, when Ontario, they were talking about putting 25% tariff on electricity to Americans. Trump came in with the 50% tariff on steel and aluminum to Canada. They're like, oh, look, he just got them to back down. He said, in all honesty, the reason they put the 25% tariff on electricity in the first place was because he already talked about putting tariffs on other things to Canada. That's why they did it. So there really was no win.
And he backed off on some of the tariffs too.
Exactly. I mean, so these people, this is how they think. I mean, because what he's doing is basically going to crash the market, then bring it back up. Like the market's revving back up again. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you guys take wins that are not real wins. You guys are taking on, like, if I come in and I break something, then I fix it to being back to kind of what it was, but it's not fully what it was. Did I really fix it?
Well, it's like sports fans. They'd be like, yeah, we're winning. Then when they start losing, they'd be like, they suck. It's not we no more. Mm-hmm. But you know what I'm saying? A lot of people, I mean, it's fun. A lot of people are going to root for him regardless. You know, during COVID, everyone turned into their internet selves. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And let me explain that to you people. Before we had like decor and manners and stuff, we go out in public and some people wild out, but mostly we'd be cordial with everybody. You know what I'm saying? But then everybody got stuck inside their house for a year. And your internet self is way more wilder than your public self. But mm-hmm. everyone's public self turned into their internet self. So now people don't, like, if someone's like, even if a Trump person was like, you know what, I was wrong. I apologize. Mm-hmm. I made a mistake. People aren't going to be like, all right, cool, man. We understand you made a mistake. Let's make a difference. They'll be like, that's what you get, motherfucker. You ain't shit still. They're going to rub it in their face. So people would rather just double and triple down than admit that they're wrong. And we're just going to have to live in those kind of times.
But that's always been easier. We all know people have been like that for a very long time, especially these guys. They're not going to ever admit they're wrong. They're going to consistently try and ride out whatever he says as being law. They have to. You're too bought in. You bought the hat. You got the flag. You wrapped your truck. You got the stickers all over it. You know what I mean? You did everything. You're bought into this. You got the t-shirts. You know what I mean? So it's like they won't ever. How can they admit that they're wrong? That means they've admitted that years of your life have been wasted. Years.
You've been lied to by your media.
I mean, worshiping a person who is not worth you worshiping has not brought anything good to the table. I'm not going to say that. I mean, okay, I won't say anything good. There's probably little redeemable factors, but not redeemable to the fact of where he should be sitting in the White House. It should never have happened, but it's here now. So now let's deal with it. And we're dealing with it. The market's probably dropped almost 4,000 points. I mean, trillions of dollars have been shaved off of your 401k. You know, I mean, look at Elon Musk has to go and have the president sit on the White House lawn with him in hot cars. You know what I mean? Hey, look at this vehicle right here. What happened?
Elon Musty? You talking about Elon Musty, right?
Sitting there on the front line with his son there, and they're trying to sell used cars and stuff. Trump's like, "Hey, I'm buying one. You gonna buy one?"
He didn't even drive. And Sean Hannity's on the news like, "I'm buying one too. I just ordered it." Show your patriotism, folks. Go buy yourself a Tesla. All right, you can't afford the eggs because those prices really didn't go down. You can't afford your electricity, but go make sure you go get a Tesla because you got to charge it somewhere, right? While you're waiting to, eat lunch because breakfast is out the window.
Let's remember who his base is, though. His base, we look at the electorate,
not the majority of them.
You know what I mean? Absolutely.
So the NOAA braces for mass layoffs, fueling concerns about life-saving weather services. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration is preparing to lay off more than 1,000 workers as part of the Trump administration's mandate for agencies to prepare reductions in force, according to multiple sources familiar with the matter. The cuts are fueling concerns that the NOAA's ability to deliver life-saving services such as weather forecasting, storm warnings, climate monitoring, and fishery oversight will be hampered. The concerns are especially acute as hurricane and disaster season looms. NOAA was already significantly understaffed, so this is devastating. This is beyond a S show, said Rep. Jared Huffman, D.C., the Democrat, California. The ranking member of the House Natural Resources Committee said in an interview with ABC News. It means we're going to be less safe. It means there will be all sorts of collateral damage. A person familiar with the staffing levels at NOAA told ABC News that the agency is already down about 2,000 people since January as a result of the first round of Trump administration cuts. The fork in the road offer and regular retirement. In January, this source said the staffing was at about 12,000 employees, which is described as average. With an additional 1,000 cuts looming, the agency would be down 25% since the start of the year. There is no way to absorb the cuts of this magnitude without cutting into these core missions, Huffman said. This is about efficiency and certainly not about waste, fraud, and abuse. This is making programs that people depend on to save their lives, this is taking programs that people depend on to save lives and emasculating them. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the reason I bring this up, because by the time you see this video, there's a storm, a huge storm coming, tornadoes, flash floods, damage winds, head to the Midwest, South, and the East Coast. St. Louis will be the main hit. So St. Louis, it's going to hit the Jackson, Macomb, New Orleans, Atlanta, Chicago, Pittsburgh. It's a huge storm system. Tornadoes, flooding. This is what the NOAA does. They warn you when tornadoes are coming. That when you see that on the news and you see the tornadoes, they're like, hey, that's your tornado warning. When the flood's about to come, they know that the rain's going to bring all this down and it's going to flood your area. Without the staff, this is how people die.
Yep.
People said, oh, what do these people do in the government? This is what they do. Some of you don't even know who the NOAA is. That's the reason. I'm telling you, this is why we have these things in place to keep you safe and aware.
This is why we don't run into the same problems that a lot of these other countries run into when they have when they lose 20,000 and 30,000 people, to flooding or to these other different natural disasters. This isn't something that we need to be playing with. We're seeing every year that our flooding is getting worse. The hurricanes are getting worse. I know people say, oh, the hurricanes aren't getting worse. Well, they seem to be affecting more and more property. The wildfires are now spreading to the East Coast. We're starting to get heavy wildfires on the East Coast as well, too. This is the first year I've seen it.
They said the East Coast, they're thinking those fires started when they found the lithium deposits because there were just a bunch of random wildfires that just happened to pop up there. But it's a lot drier. But people don't want to believe in climate change.
And this is who these people, they track these things for us. And this is why we always see weather trackers. That's why we were able to get people out of Florida before the last one hit, even though it wasn't as strong as everyone thought it would be. It saved lives. Exactly. Yeah. It's making sure that we have an understanding of what may happen. A lot of countries don't have these kind of systems. They just got to sit there and brace for it. You know what I mean? So, if people didn't leave there, it's just because they didn't have the money. It's not because they were not warned. We understood what's going on. This is why at the end of the day, man, it's sad to see that these people would rather cut these jobs that are such a minuscule cut instead of looking at the real major cuts, which is like defense spending. They want to talk about,
let's tax the rich, bro. That's all it is. Tax the rich
at a higher rate. People say, you think they're going to, we've done it before. It's not to say this is a new, like this is a new thought pattern. This is in this country, when we did tax the rich at a higher tax rate, we had a middle class. Once we stopped doing it, the middle class is gone now. We have one. It's only because it's only because the numbers have to show a middle class, not because there's truly one like we had before, where you could send your kids to college comfortably, buy a home. I mean, kids these days can't even afford to move out of their home. It's hard for them. They have to like get together, even at 20 something years. It's a difficult job. That's why the birth
rate is so low.
Absolutely.
People don't understand it. Nobody can afford. You know how much daycare is a week? $800 a week.
That's crazy.
$800 for one kid, and don't let it be summertime. Oh man, the price is going to go up because the kid's there all day. Hopefully, everybody stays safe. Make sure you stay with your local meteorologist and just pay attention. Make sure that inside of your home you have enough supplies to last you at least 2 weeks. That's water, canned food, and enough blankets and stuff to heat you up. You see, North Carolina, they were warned, and those people were devastated. They didn't get to them after 2 weeks. And if you live in a rural area, anywhere you live, people, please believe me, you need enough supplies to last you and your family for 2 weeks. And if you want to know how many supplies you need, if you have children, take a case of water, 24 packs, set it in your living room, and tell your kids, this is the only water we're drinking and using today. And see how quickly they go through those water bottles. Then you can determine how much water you would need for your home. Bless you all.
Trump wants no tax for Americans making less than $150,000 a year, says Howard Lutnick. That's what I'm working for. U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said that President Donald Trump wants to eliminate taxes for individuals earning less than $150,000 per year. Lutnick, in a CBS interview on Tuesday, said Trump's tax objective, I know what his goal is. No tax for anybody who makes less than $150,000 a year. That's his goal. That's what I'm working for, Lutnick said. Trump's tax strategy also aims to abolish taxes on tips, overtime, and implement significant reductions to individuals and corporate taxes. Lutnick suggests that the deficit arising from these tax cuts could be compensated by curbing overseas tax frauds, which he believes are causing a loss to revenue to the U.S. Lutnick also pointed out a proposed 5 million U.S. visa as a potential source of additional fiscal revenue. Trump's comprehensive fiscal plan, including $4.5 trillion in tax cuts, was approved by the Republican-led House of Representatives in February and is now awaiting a Senate vote. While advocating for his tax cuts, Trump is also striving to decrease government expenditure and the nation's fiscal deficit, shared Lutnick. However, these actions have sparked controversy, especially the large-scale layoffs of federal employees across various agencies.
Now, I saw that interview too, and I kind of just, I blew it off because until I see it in writing, I don't believe it. He's saying no tax on overtime, no tax on tips. It's not in this current bill that they have.
Nope.
Not at all. None of it is. What they're gonna do, ladies and gentlemen, this is the carrot in the stick. It's like, hey, pass these bills for us, and then we're gonna do it. We're gonna try to get done what you want us to do. It's not gonna happen. No tax for people under $150,000. The tax cuts right now that they're passing are only for people that make over $400,000. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
they're showing you exactly. They've been telling us for all this time exactly who they were, who they want tax cuts for. That's why the tax cuts for the middle class and the poor classes sunset at, they had a date in 2000. I think it was 24 or 25. They sunset. The tax cuts for the wealthy did not. They could have did that for both parties, but they decided not to because they want you to go back and vote for him again. Now he's coming back. He's trying to get another huge tax cut. He's dangling in front of you. Well, no taxes on tips and no taxes on this, but just for them to go and steal another $4.5 trillion, if not more, and then not offset that with spending. Who do you think is going to have to pay for that? We will. The American citizens, the ones who the ones who are going to be around here to keep paying taxes, because the wealthy don't really pay a lot of tax. We know they don't. It's because they can write a lot of things off. It's a smart move. I'm not against it, but it's the fact of the matter is that's what it is. Even if we were to change tax laws, they would still find ways to write things off. It's just the way our tax code's set up. So for him to sit back and pretend that for somehow he's trying to do right by the people who, I want to do right by the middle class, no taxes on you. Yeah, right. He's paying back his billionaire donors who made sure he got in office and not sitting in Gitmo himself. That's who he's paying back right now.
Yeah. The U.S. Department of Agriculture has eliminated over $1 billion in funding that helped bring local food to schools and food banks. The move, part of broader federal spending reduction, could impact millions of students and families nationwide. The Local Food for School Cooperative Agreement Program, LFS program, which allocates approximately $660 million for schools and children child care centers to purchase food from local farms, has been cut for 2025. Additionally, the USDA has discontinued the local food purchase assistance cooperative agreement program, which provided $500 million to food banks. The USDA announced funding for the affected programs last year. States were informed last week that the agreement would be terminated following a 60-day notification period. The impact of these cuts will vary by state depending on their reliance on the LFS program. States that had integrated these funds into their operational plans for school meals programs and food banks will face significant challenges. According to the USDA, the following states have signed with the USDA on the local food for school cooperative agreement programs: Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Washington, West Virginia, Wisconsin, and Wyoming.
Well, that's a hell of a list.
Yep. And see, people, these are the programs. So basically, the programs that give kids free school lunches, that's what this is. The programs that actually give funding to your food banks and deliver food to the food banks, that's what that is. So children are going to starve. Already people that are down and out, and the food banks, what a lot of people rely on. You know what's crazy? I was thinking about this. I've been thinking about this because this happened a couple days ago, and we're reporting on it today. This all could have been avoided. You know, not even from the last election. Let's talk about this, folks. How long have you been down and out? How long have you known somebody that's been down and out? How long have wages been low? We've been through Democrats, Republicans, right? And all they do is squeeze and squeeze us. That's all they do, to the point where you have to work 40 plus hours a week and still be on state assistance. They could have been helped us. Both sides could have done it, but they didn't. They didn't. And we let it happen. We had time during COVID where we could have started a general strike and shut all this shit down.
Let me step in right there. I disagree with what he's saying, but I understand what he's saying, though, because I've seen it. We've all watched it, but I do watch policy. I watch policy and I watch what happens. I mean, even under Biden, middle class, basically for middle class revenue went up under Biden. We look at, where do jobs kind of tend to always go up under Democratic presidencies. When people have jobs, people have prosperity, they can gain things in life. You're not seeing that under Republicans. You see job loss, you see recessions, you see drop off under Republican leadership consistently. So to me, give yourself a little. If we had like a 12-year, 16-year run of people who we held accountable, because you got to hold people accountable. You can't just sit back and let people just, kind of skate by and think that they're going to be getting elected every single time. However, getting back to this main core, fact, they're cutting $1 billion out of food programs for kids. I mean, and I don't understand how we're not outraged by that. These are for kids who go to school. This is for people at food banks. This is the poorest among us. This is not always the poorest among us. Sometimes it's people who have jobs who just cannot, rent's too high. Week. Things happen. They said that 70% or more of Americans don't have $1,000 in their bank account, don't have $500 or whatever in their bank account. This is a lot. That's a lot of people. One problem: car breaks down, anything happens,
you get a red light ticket.
I mean, you're sitting here, you're cooked. A medical bill, anything. So we're not looking at this. This guy's coming out here basically cutting programs for people who need them, just like Elon Musk said. Empathy is basically the biggest problem of Western civilization. When he speaks about Western civilization, he speaks about European civilization, which is Europeans are all over there. Here in America, they're in Canada, they're in Australia, but that's what he's trying to say, that basically their empathy for themselves, really, because most of you guys are the ones who are on these public assistance programs, but for anyone who are poor is the problem. He's basically saying that we should have kept smashing as hard as we could, but that wasn't really the truth. The truth of the matter is people start rising up against you. And it's the end of this whole entire civilization, end of this whole entire way of life is the real true core. But now, before the end of this thing, what they're basically going to try and do is suck the life out of whatever's left over. They're trying to take every last dime from the people who are here. hold up. Let's cut all the programs to the people. Let's give it all to the wealthy. That's pretty much what they're saying.
Yep. It's crazy. Y'all voted to make sure illegal immigrants couldn't steal your jobs. And now a couple of them are taking everything from you. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to leave you with that. This is Uncommon Courtesy. Until next time.